Good morning. My name is Eben Franks, and I've been doing ocean research and exploration for a little more than 50 years. I sort of retired about 8 or 9 years ago, but I continue to do underwater robotics education, putting on robotics competitions for about the past 17 years with MATE, ROV. I'm the regional coordinator here on Cape Cod. I live in Bourne, Massachusetts, and I've got some questions here from a student from Webster, Mass, a young man by the name of Tran, and he goes to Bartlett High School. And we met about a month ago at Massachusetts Manufacturing Mashup, a big engineering event in Worcester, Mass, at the Polar Park, where the Worcester Red Sox play, Woo Sox. So, first off, I would like to shout out to Bartlett High School and say, Bartlett time! So, hopefully, you can snip that part of the video out and put that in to your presentation, Hung. So, Hung's first question, what has your industry brought to the community? Well, there is so very much that ocean robotics has done over the past 30 or 40 years, and it's just phenomenal, the capabilities nowadays for ocean robotics, underwater robotics, to study environmental issues, do water sampling, look at fisheries and the abundance of different species of fish, to map the seafloor. All this can be done from pre-programmed underwater vehicles. Some of these vehicles swim at the surface and collect solar energy and use that for propulsion, navigation, and data collection. Other vehicles store energy in batteries and can go for long missions, as long as 2 weeks underwater autonomously, and be able to map the sea floor using side scan sonar or have other instrumentation to detect natural gas, to detect places where minerals are forming on the seabed around hydrothermal vents. These autonomous underwater vehicles are used extensively when aircraft, ships, or smaller vessels are lost at sea. And these things can go map and do artificial intelligence to analyze what the sonar and what the video cameras are seeing in real time as these vehicles are near the bottom of the ocean, and send a signal back to the surface acoustically to maybe a vessel or a buoy, or when the vehicle comes up and surfaces, it sends its analysis, its result, a small data file, and says, I think I have found something here, and if you want more information, I can send a much bigger data file that has the sonar and video imagery of this object. So I cannot get over the capability that has been developed. It's just astounding to consider the capability developed for underwater robotics and what can be accomplished with them nowadays. There are literally thousands and thousands of devices in the world's oceans at any given time doing the whole range of environmental monitoring, listening for whales and tracking whales, doing work for the military and for the government to understand the whole range of issues related to uh, warfare and undersea warfare and tracking submarines and vessels and smaller vehicles. It's just amazing. So that's what I think of when I think of what ocean robotics does for the community. And why am I interested in what I am doing? Well, it's a continual challenge to always learn more. And I've been on this trajectory, a steep trajectory, always learning all that I can since I was 18 years old and first went to sea on the research vessel out of Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, not far from where I live. And prior to that, as a younger teenager, I was always reading everything I could, studying books about ocean exploration and all these expeditions that people undertook so far away from where they lived, monumental challenges. And I always was fascinated by how these expeditions were planned and what type of people signed up for them. And I started envisioning myself doing these very challenging, big, exciting things. And when I finally had the opportunity, I heard about the chance to go work on the research vessels at Woods Hole when I was 16 or so. I started imagining myself going on that path and going to sea, working on ships, and doing really challenging but rewarding things. So um, that's why I'm interested in what I'm doing even now. These challenges and opportunities continue to arise. Even today, I heard about another project where a company is developing some technology using wave energy to create fresh water from seawater, not using electrical power, just the energy of the waves, moving water through a system, taking seawater, the brine, the heavily salty water goes out one part of the system, and the fresh water comes out the other part of the system and goes ashore and is used by an island or uh, creating fresh water for emergency situations, for instance, after there's a hurricane or a big storm, or creating fresh water for communities where there's no rainwater and they have to ship their water in uh, at a very great expense. So there's a lot of need for this new technology, and up until now, fresh water created that way has used electricity, and that has needed the use of diesel fuel or electrical power from some other source for these small island towns, villages, or small island nations. So it's getting to be a critical need with the cost of energy so high and rising. Uh, this new technology that we are looking at, they asked us to help deploy their system for some testing about 30 miles from here down Buzzards Bay. And I've done a lot of work on ships, launch and recover equipment. I'm interested in renewable energy. I'm always interested in creating fresh water, having seen what it's like to work on ships and have very limited amount of fresh water at times. So this is like all these, many of the things I'm interested in all coming together. And this is a new project I just heard about today for the first time. I'm saying, sign us up. We can go launch and recover your system, and we're very interested to do this for the benefit of humanity, basically, but also for the benefit of the company that's creating this new technology. let's see, what advice do you have for new students entering this industry? The industry is underwater robotics. I would say figure out the many different things you can study that all can be applied towards underwater robotics. Mechanical engineering is certainly one thing. Electrical engine, electrical engineering, energy systems, figuring out how to store a lot of electrical power so these underwater vehicles can go longer and longer on their missions. Hydrodynamics, looking at the shape of these vehicles and understanding how to reduce the amount of drag such that they can go farther and faster with less energy. Uh, it's important to understand business and understand if you're going to work for a company that is building these things and eventually selling underwater vehicles, you've got to have a good understanding of what it takes, the cost to build, to develop and build an underwater vehicle, as well as to replicate that, build 20 or to build 50, and then get out there and sell them. A big part of what I've done since I left ocean research and exploration has been selling services of these underwater vehicles as well as selling the vehicles themselves and demonstrating them and training people how to use them and how to repair them and how to maintain them. And that in itself is completely different from all the engineering stuff and the other business aspects. You have to be good dealing with people and expressing your ideas and be able to establish yourself very quickly when you are in a business meeting or a meeting with your prospective customers. You've got to be able to say, we are very interested in your business. We want to learn what your needs are, and we will figure out how to configure our underwater vehicle to meet those needs and be able to do it at a competitive price. So I've had a lot of really phenomenally big challenges since I left Woods Hole Oceanographic about 17 years ago, 2005, and moved into the commercial side of underwater robotics, where we have one of the companies I worked for had a very big ROV that we operated for research and exploration. And we had to keep this vehicle busy 2, 3, 4 months a year to have enough income to keep 6 or 8 or 10 people busy in the office, engineers, technical people. My wife is home and she's yelling up the stairs. I'm making a recording right now. If you can wait. So you need to understand a wide range of things to be able to do underwater robotics. Don't just get into one little narrow specialty. Understand a whole range of different issues, how they're used, understand what's happening in the ocean with currents, what's happening in the atmosphere, mixing with the surface waters and how those waters mix deeper into the ocean. There's so much to learn, and you can have it be literally a lifelong journey that you will find incredible challenge, but also great fulfillment. And you make a good buck doing it too. It's really rewarding. You'll be able to retire and look back and say, I can't believe these things we have accomplished. Well, I look back at my old log books I have on the shelf over there. I used to keep a handwritten log of all the things I did from the time I was 18. And I don't even remember the details of some of the things I wrote about 51, 52 years ago. But I pull those log books off the shelf and say, God, I guess we did all this stuff, but I don't have any memory of going to this or that place or these people or that thing being lost at sea, and you look back on those accomplishments and the things you do remember that were burned into you, and you find a great deal of satisfaction and uh, a sense of peace and fulfillment that will really endure beyond the time you are working. And the other thing I always ask students that are interested in this line of work or anything that I see them doing, I ask them, what are you going to do with your time on this earth? What are you going to do with your life that will make an impact, that will endure beyond just the 30 or 40 years that you're out there working? What are you going to do to help your community, your nation, your world, and leave it a better place? And how are you going to accomplish that? What is your purpose in life? And when you figure out what your purpose is, what you are dedicated to doing, you will find fulfillment and great joy and great challenge. So, what else? I'll shout out your school motto again one more time. Are you ready? Bartlett time. Make it happen. Get out there. Do big things. Challenge yourself and learn everything you can, always. And you'll have a great life. Thank you again for your questions. It's a great pleasure. I look forward to seeing with you and talking with you soon.